And Hurricane Irma recovery is our top story tonight. Good afternoon. I'm Stephanie Roberts.
And I'm Scott Dennis. Welcome to our special expanded coverage of Hurricane Irma's aftermath.
While much of the Sun Coast may have dodged a bullet when it came to winds, it is flooding that is now a major issue. Reporter Kevin Fry joins us now live from Arcadia, where the Peace River is cresting way above flood stage in the wake of Hurricane Irma.
It is indeed there, Stephanie, and we're about a quarter mile or so from the river banks itself, and as you can see, we're in about a little over ankle-deep water here. It gets a little deeper depending on where you go. Behind me is a campground where hundreds, I'm being told, RVs and whatnot have been evacuated throughout all of this, and now they're sending back boats in there to look around. They've also been trying to get their cars out of here throughout this whole entire day. Now, this is not the only area in Arcadia that has been flooded. The tributaries also are overflowing their banks, ruining some neighborhoods and communities. We spoke to some high school sweethearts that now have their home flooded. Take a look.
The front window of the house, it was about 3 inches below the windows.
High water trucks and boats are the only ways to get to the home of Zach Beasley. He and his girlfriend lived here for just 7 months before Irma's rain caused the Horse Creek to rise.
Everything we have is gone. I mean, it's sad. This was our home, our only place.
Here at the house, the water is just over ankle deep, but this is not the worst of it. Zach and his family telling me at one point the water was nearly as high as this wall. Inside, murky water coats the floors. Tadpoles and other animals now claim the house as their own.
Everything is gone. We're still making payments on this stuff.
They were able to salvage some things, including Zach's diabetic supplies.
You know, it's hard. What are you supposed to grab?
Zach's girlfriend, Kiara Aiken, rides horses. They evacuated them to safety before the waters rose. Where are you looking to go next?
Honestly, we don't know. I mean, I've just been reaching out to people on Facebook, people I know, friends with horses, land, you know, seeing if I can keep my horses with them just until we get situated and find a new place.
And that new place could be not just out of town, but out of state. They already flooded during Harvey just 2 weeks ago.
We can't afford to start over 20 times. I mean, once or twice, okay, but every time it rains, we can't afford to do it.
Now, Zach told me that he has reached out to FEMA to try to get some assistance, but he's not able to right now because this isn't technically a disaster zone yet. The governor's office tells me they have requested disaster be declared federally for the entire state, but only a few counties have been so far. So a matter of time as to whether or not that will happen. For now, reporting in Arcadia for ABC7 News, I'm Kevin Fry. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Kevin. The Department of Homeland Security now says Hurricane Irma created one of the biggest power outages in U.S. history, leaving 15 million in the dark in Florida alone. As a result, it is taking a while to get that grid restored and the lights back on. The latest numbers from FPL say nearly 80,000 are still without power in Sarasota County. Manatee County reports more than 55,000 still without power, and specifically the city of Venice has more than 20,000 still waiting for electricity. Well, we found FP&L crews hard at work on Whitfield Avenue in Sarasota today, trying to get those lights back on. Crews first have to assess the damage before they can even send repair workers out, and it varies widely from place to place. But the good news is the lights and the air conditioning are slowly coming back.
As of this morning, we had restored power to roughly 60% of the 4.4 million customers who are without power. Now, that is roughly 4 times faster than the pace that we had seen with Hurricane Wilma in 2005.
FP&L hopes to have power restored to all of Florida's east coast by the end of the weekend. As for our coast, the company says it may take until September 22nd to have everyone back on.
Minnesota Key residents are working to clean up the damage caused by Hurricane Irma. ABC7's Christopher Brownlee joins us live from Venice now with more on that story. Christopher?
Good afternoon. The damage on Minnesota Key really wasn't all that bad. It was really just a lot of downed trees. We did go to a home earlier today that had a tree that had fallen over and was leaning against the house. The homeowners were really worried that tree may continue falling over, either causing more damage to the home or falling onto someone. And that was largely the case all up and down the Key. A major concern was the beach, which has been eroding away for years. After a year-long battle with government agencies, last year residents were able to get large sandbags to protect their homes from storm surge and any storms that may come through, and it seems to have worked.
I thought they were perfect. I know that we would have lost a whole lot more sand without them. I think that they were absolutely marvelous. They stayed in place, they held sand in place, and they were just, I'm so glad I got them.
And really, besides a whole lot of downed trees, there wasn't any major structural damage that we could find. A lot of people stopped us while we were out reporting the story today and said they feel like they dodged a bullet. Live in Venice, Christopher Brantley, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
I think a lot of us feel like that.
Yeah, it could have been so much worse, that's for sure. Let's get a check on our weather today. The weather is cooperating with all the cleanup efforts, and here's Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with more.
Yeah, it could be much worse too if you think about what we've had over the past 2 days. Some nice weather, some good cleanup weather. Temperatures haven't been extremely hot. A lot of times after a hurricane moves through, it can be very, very tough out there with showers and thunderstorms developing, and also high humidity, but we haven't had that. But that's about to change. You can see the moisture out here already starting to return from some storms there in the Gulf of Mexico, indicating the atmosphere is starting to moisten up. So the storms will be back tomorrow. We'll have a chance even for some morning showers around as a result of some tropical moisture coming back in from the south. And we see a little bit of rain also down to our south. As we reported earlier, the flooding continues along the area rivers. We have the Horse Creek, the Peace River, the Myakka River at the Myakka Head had record flooding there. Also at the Manatee River at the Myakka Head, I should say, and the Manatee River right there, and the Myakka River at the Myakka State Park. Still some flooding going on there, but the big flood is obviously in the Peace River where it has crested, but still well above flood stage being 11 feet. And it's over 18 feet right now, expected to go down there throughout the weekend if we don't get any more heavy rain. I don't think we will. Wednesday again for the river there at the Manatee River at the Myakka Head, still flooding going on there. Well, that dry air is slowly sinking, or moving northward now, but not a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. A little pocket of some dry air will slip through tonight, so we're not expecting any evening showers around here. But tomorrow morning, that will exit off to the right, and we'll start to see showers and storms developing. We could even see a few in the morning, as I said, along the coast. 86 right now. You know, during the summer and throughout much of the summer, our heat index was up to 100 to 105, so at least it's bearable at 93 degrees right now. The dew point 73, and winds out of the west-southwest at 7. Well, more in the forecast. Take a look at the tropics coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you. Water service is now restored to Manasota Key, but before you drink or cook with it, you'll need to boil that water first. The Englewood Water District issuing the boil water advisory. Just as a precaution, it will remain in effect until the water is tested and then determined to be safe to drink. So once again, a boil water notice in effect for all Manasota Key until further notice. Also, we want to mention that the boil water advisory for the city of Venice has been rescinded, but some areas are still under that boil water advisory. We have a full list of those areas affected on our website. Just go to mysuncoast.com.
Congressman Vern Buchanan is helping to assess the damage from Hurricane Irma. Today we spoke to him about what he saw during his helicopter tour of the Suncoast and what he's witnessed in our community.
I talked to FEMA, and, you know, a lot of people will be inconvenienced, but we need to take care of people that are at risk. I went to a shelter with at-risk folks in Manatee County and see all the oxygen machines and different things, and a lot of them are older and fragile and frail. They need to get the priority.
Buchanan says what many of us are saying is that what he saw could have been a lot worse, and he is in the process of talking to congressional leaders and White House officials about a widespread Irma relief package.
President Trump is coming to the Sunshine State tomorrow. The White House announcing he will tour the Naples area. There's no word if he'll visit any other areas in the state. On Twitter, the president says he'll meet with the Coast Guard, FEMA, and first responders. This is the president's first trip to the region to get a first-hand look at the devastation caused by Irma. Governor Rick Scott continues to survey the damage across the state. Flooding along the St. Johns River has swallowed homes, and a number of people had to be rescued. Governor Scott took a boat tour on Black Creek, which is a tributary of the St. Johns near Middleburg. The governor said his main goal is saving lives and getting power restored.
Quite a few people were rescued from their homes. It's horrible when you see this sort of flooding. You feel so sorry for these families. So my prayers go out to them that, you know, they can get their the water will go down as fast as possible. They can get their houses cleaned out. They get their power on. So my expectation for the whole state is that we got to get our power back.
The Black Creek River crested on Tuesday with record flooding.
A criminal investigation is underway into the deaths of 6 patients at a Florida nursing home. Parts of the rehabilitation center at Hollywood Hills have not had power since the hurricane. 3 residents died at the facility. 3 more were pronounced dead at the hospital. Investigators do believe these deaths were heat-related. Memorial Hospital, which is near the facility, mobilized up to 100 of its medical personnel to help evacuate more than 115 residents. Some of them are now being treated at the hospital, and doctors warn that the number of deaths may rise.
We have a number of patients in our emergency department, and as you know, there have been 6 confirmed fatalities related to this incident. Most of the patients have been treated for respiratory distress, dehydration, and heat-related issues.
The facility's communications director reports that some of the center had power yesterday. Governor Rick Scott released a statement stating that the facility will be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law.
And that's leading to other inspections of all those kinds of assisted living facilities, retirement homes, and those sorts of things in that area, and probably across the state, as we worry about our senior citizens who really can't escape those kind of conditions.
Right, heat stress very, very real, especially for the elderly.
Yep. Well, not only are people worried about power outages and gas shortages, many of us are wondering about what to do with the mess Irma left behind. Now there's some progress being made in that front. Coming up, garbage and recycling pickup is starting to begin again.
Also ramping up our chances for rain. Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan is back with our first alert forecast. But the flooding nightmare continues for folks living near the Myakka River in Venice. We will talk about when those floodwaters could subside.
It's been about a month, and I can honestly say I've seen the change in me. I went from being a depressed girl who didn't want help to this happy, caring girl who loves helping other people. I just really hope that people that went through what I went through get the help that they need, because their story is important and they are loved. Thank you so much for everything.
Attention blood thinner users. Thousands of blood thinner users may have been exposed to serious risk by these dangerous medications. If your loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney for a free consultation. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
Call 1-800-554-3987. Again, that's 1-800-554-3987.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch ABC7 wherever you are, on our live stream, on mysuncoast.com, on the ABC7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, dining with recipes, and My Suncoast Restaurant Guide. Visit mysuncoast.com, click on the Apps tab to download the ABC7 My Suncoast app for Apple and Android.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
About every 3 minutes in America, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer. Light the Night brings together survivors and supporters to bring light to the darkness of cancer and to help fund life-saving research. Our goal is a world without blood cancers, and we're lighting the path to cures. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. Help defeat the darkness of cancer. Join Light the Night today.
All right, I tell you what, we are looking at some nice cleanup weather. That's what I call it. You know, at least it's not rain and thunderstorms aren't out there to disrupt our flow. And I had a little chance to do that too today. I think I got about 2 more days. If I can get to the weekend and get some golf and get it all done before the weekend.
Then you'll be allowed to play golf?
Yeah, exactly.
Scott, you said you were cleaning up today too.
Yeah, and I barely made a dent in it. Yeah, I worked for a few,
It's
probably
overwhelming.
about 2 hours, but you know, I got the front yard, the big stuff out of the way, but there's so much more in the backyard.
Yeah, and then you think about us and you think about the Keys, you know, it's just
Right.
devastated there. It's like, wow, you know, how does it happen? You know, it's going to take months down there to get that all cleaned up and get ready to go. Here a few weeks, I would imagine, you know, they've got to pick all this garbage up too and take it away and haul it away too. So big cleanup going on here along the Sun Coast, and this is just one of the photos that was sent in yesterday. Get a look at this. This is Northwest Bradenton. This was sent in yesterday. A huge tree, and there are a lot of trees down. You know, that's typical, by the way, of what you would see with tropical storm force sustained winds. On top of that, hurricane gusts, occasionally up to 80 to 90 miles an hour. That's pretty much what we saw. And if anyone asks you later on, did you go through, again, Irma? It was not a Category 2 hurricane here at all. So you have not gone through a Category 2 hurricane. You don't want you to think that you had, because this will give you a false sense of security. Just what you've gone through really is a tropical storm, a strong one at that, with a Category 1 hurricane wind gusts at times. This was cutting it close too, right there, depending upon where these trees fall. Really makes a difference in terms of what kind of damage you're going to see. Beautiful sunset last night, and I think we'll get another one tonight by Fred Seeger. Appreciate all those nice photos. But rain is on the way. It's coming back. We have some showers and storms developing now in the Gulf of Mexico. It's only going to be around for a couple of days, though, and then we'll see another patch of dry air move in, it looks like, for the weekend. So the weekend is looking pretty good. All in all, we'll see some scattered storms, but we'll get better chances, I think, on tomorrow and then again on Friday. Well, a close-up look at the radar picture, not showing any rain around here. Some starting to develop south of Fort Myers and well out to the west of us, a few hefty showers and storms. Well, look at all that dry air covering much of the eastern third of the nation as that low-pressure area of what's left of Irma continues to head off to the northeast now. And nothing really on the horizon. Things are looking better on that front. Sunshine right now, 86 degrees, and the dew point 73. Winds are out of the west-southwest at 7, and the pressure 2992 and holding steady right now. And the wind forecast is calling for rather light winds out of the east tonight, east-northeast. It'll cool us down into the mid-70s, and then it'll turn around a little bit to start the day off tomorrow out of the south. And that will start to increase our moisture availability, and we'll see showers and storms scattered about. The rain chance not extremely high, though, at 40% for those storms. 86 degrees in Sarasota right now. It's 89 in Orlando, 85 in Miami, 88 in Jacksonville. And temperatures in the low 90s well inland in places like Wauchula, Avon Park, all the way down to Lake Placid. The water temperature at 83. The same at Inglewood now, and Cortez at 85 degrees. Northport, you're running a couple degrees warmer, and Punta Gorda the same. The forecast tomorrow does call for a chance for a few morning showers, even late morning, early afternoon, and then we'll see some more developing later on in the day. That rain chance at 40%. Temperatures will warm into the upper 80s, a little bit cooler near the coast, but low 90s well east of the interstate. And it looks as though this forecast will continue on Friday. In fact, Friday we'll get a little bit better chance for showers and storms. Let's hope football Friday night, if they're going to play the games, it would be okay. Here's not playing. Okay, they're not playing, Scott's telling me. 75 degrees, 75 miles an hour, I should say. That's the wind speed of Hurricane Jose. Southeast winds at 7 now, and the pressure 985 millibars. Here's the forecast, a cone of uncertainty, and it's fairly certain that this is not going to have an impact on the U.S. as it takes off toward the northeast as a result of a trough of low pressure coming by to pick it up, and that's good news for us here across the states. Well, temperatures in the 100-degree range of Phoenix at 104, Boston a nice day at 76, Washington 77, 73 in Detroit, and 83 in Kansas City. Same in New Orleans, and looks like generally clear skies, sunny skies over much of the eastern third of the nation. For boaters and beachgoers tomorrow, east winds turn to the northwest with that sea breeze developing late in the afternoon. And we'll have seas running less than 2 feet with a light chop on the bays and inland waters. The water temperature 83. UV index will be high tomorrow to 10, and there'll be a few scattered showers. Now the forecast shakes out like this for tonight. Partly cloudy skies expected. We'll hear the tides first. 9:45 for the next high tide. Sunset at 7:37. Warm and dry tonight. Partly cloudy. No real threat of any rainfall around. 76 for your low. Tomorrow, look for some sunshine and a high temperature, warming to 88, and then clouds scattered about throughout the day. So partly cloudy conditions. Again, the same on Friday. A little drier air moves in on Saturday and Sunday. And you'll notice temperatures dropping down to the low 70s as we head into the work week next week. It's a little bit nicer. Back to you.
We'll look forward to that. Thank you, Bob. Hurricane Irma may be gone, but the impacts continue as rain from the storm drains into area rivers. As ABC7's Bobeth Yates shows us, the issue is causing massive flooding concerns east of I-75.
I'm in Myakka, where a major flood stage warning has been issued. In fact, if you look right behind me, a sign already posted up saying high water ahead, as some of the tributaries off the Myakka River already start to overflow its banks. Earlier today, we saw water completely covering a portion of Clay Gully Road as people tried to pass it. But that is just the beginning stages of this flooding, because according to the National Weather Service, the waters in this area could crest at 10.5 feet, which is much higher than what occurred a couple weeks ago when waters in this area crest at just 8.65 feet. Now, officials are warning people to take caution as they actually drive through this area, saying that you should use the adage, turn around, don't drown, because you just do not know how much water is on the road, and if it picks up your car and take you away, there may be some bigger concerns for you later on. In fact, many in this area already reacting to the increased flood waters.
We are trying to get to one of my houses that's out here to check for damage, and
So what are you going to do?
I don't know.
Are you going to try to go through?
I think we're going to try to go through. Yeah, I think we're going to try to go through.
It's usually pretty normal through this area. This is a lot lower. On the ranch back there is always common to flood. Where we live, we are thankfully pretty high and dry. I live by the old Myakka schoolhouse. We're used to the hurricanes out here and the flooding, but we're thankful it's nothing serious.
Again, the National Weather Service issuing a major flood concern for this area, saying that the river could crest at 10.5 feet, again, well above what it was a couple weeks ago. Now, we'll continue to monitor this situation and bring you more updates as we get it. In Myakka, Bobeth Yates, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Well, Beth, thank you. Gas is still scarce in our area. Open gas stations remain a rare sight around the Suncoast. Some are finally getting some fuel deliveries, but only have a limited supply. And unfortunately, it could take up to a week for those supplies to return back to normal. Suppliers are prioritizing gas stations near major evacuation routes, but drivers will likely find some long lines. AAA says you'll have the best luck finding a gas station that is not located along a major highway.
It's not going to be too much an issue for us. We have a couple cars and a boat, and so we filled up the boat as well, and we can siphon gas out of the boat to put in the cars if we need to.
Port Manatee staff say they never closed ahead of the storm, but still must pass an inspection by the U.S. Coast Guard before gas companies can get fuel and deliver it to Suncoast stations.
Well, everywhere you look, there seems to be garbage and storm debris piling up, but soon that will change. Garbage pickup is finally getting back on track. Today, Sarasota County resumed regularly scheduled pickup, as did Northport and Venice. Manatee County is already back on schedule. Tomorrow, the city of Sarasota resumes recyclables pickup. Manatee County will only take garbage if it is in the can, but the city of Sarasota says it will take extra bags of garbage if you set them out next to your container. Yard waste and storm debris will be picked up in both the city of Sarasota and Sarasota County starting next week. It is just eerie to see the piles everywhere right now.
I've never seen so much yard waste in my life, in the neighborhoods, and I think it's going to take a few weeks for these crews to be able to pick it all up and get it to the landfill.
Well, and then you wonder about the streets too, because it's piled up on the curbs.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we need a big old street vacuum to come down and get rid of it all.
I know. School is out until next week, but students, teachers, and staff are not just sitting on their hands. See what they had to do to ensure this elementary school in Bradenton is ready to open on Monday.
But first, are the airlines ready to handle your travel needs? We'll check area airports to see what they're doing to get back to normal. Stay with us.
This is important news for women who were administered chemotherapy intravenously for breast cancer and then suffered permanent hair loss. The chemotherapy drug Taxotere has been linked to permanent alopecia or permanent hair loss. Some women administered the breast cancer chemotherapy drug Taxotere have suffered from permanent hair loss on scalp, eyebrows, and eyelashes. The FDA has urged doctors and the manufacturer to warn women administered Taxotere of the risk of permanent hair loss. If you or a loved one were administered chemotherapy chemotherapy intravenously for breast cancer and suffered permanent hair loss, you may have a right to a cash award and medical expenses. If you suffered permanent hair loss after chemotherapy for breast cancer, call the law offices of Davis & Crump at the number below right now to find out if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call the law offices of Davis & Crump right now. Our first consultation is free, and we don't get paid unless you get paid. Call now. Operators are standing by.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented. That's right, half. Nearly 50%, mostly by making small everyday changes in your diet and controlling your weight, walking more, eating less, and eating foods that help you and your family to seriously reduce the risk of cancer. And of course, by not smoking. Visit the Cancer Prevention Together We Can website and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, stats, and more about protecting your family. Go to prevent50.org.
Airports across the Sunshine State are now back open, even though hundreds of flights continue to be canceled or delayed. Sarasota-Bradenton International Airport is open, operating normally. Here's a breakdown of the airport schedules in our area. At SRQ, Delta is flying in and out of the airport, along with American Airlines and JetBlue, which resumed flights today. Tampa International Airport is back open, as is St. Pete Clearwater, but with only about 50% service. So if you're flying out, make sure to check with your airline for specific flight information. 99 people, some animals, are all safe thanks to the U.S. Coast Guard. 78 adults, 12 kids, and 13 pets were rescued from St. Thomas yesterday. They were taken to a cruise ship that will then take them to Puerto Rico. Norwegian and Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines have offered ships to help bring back tourists who were left stranded by Irma.
Great use for those ships, too, because it's not like anybody can sail east into those ports, so
yeah,
kind of a best of both scenarios.
And they've been stuck there in miserable conditions.
No heat, no AC, no nothing. All right, well, many evacuees are anxious about what they'll find when they come back home. Still to come on your Suncoast News, we will check that out.
All the heavy traffic they're encountering on their return is not helping at all. Coming up, hear why they say taking I-75 back home is a big mistake.
Because my parents told me I have to be responsible.
Because my first coach told me, you can do this.
Because my boss showed me how to do a good job.
Because my teacher helped me see the choices.
I'm swimming faster than I ever dreamed.
I am a valuable employee.
I discovered that I could work as an artist.
I will be whatever I want to be.
Youth with disabilities should grow up expecting to work and succeed. For more information, visit whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
Tonight on ABC7 News at 7.
We got a lot of work to do, but everybody's going to come together. We're going to, get this the state rebuilt.
This state is a state of strong, resilient people.
Hurricane Irma passed through the Sunshine State, but now comes the hard part, getting Florida and its residents back on track. I'm Alan Cohn. We'll have that story.
Tonight on ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Welcome back to a special edition of your Suncoast News. I'm Stephanie Roberts.
And I'm Scott Dennis. Millions of Floridians hit the road to get out of the path of Hurricane Irma, and now they're heading back home.
ABC7's Erica Jackson is live just off US 41 to explain why we may see more drivers on 41 today. Good afternoon, Erica.
Good afternoon, Stephanie and Scott. The drivers that left Florida to evacuate used roads like US 41, State Road 70, and I-75. And like you just mentioned, now they're all heading back. Public safety officials are urging those who are returning to use back roads like US 41 in order to avoid the congestion that we saw on I-75 ahead of Hurricane Irma. We've been in touch with some families who are heading back to the Suncoast right now. Some people have mentioned delays while driving through Georgia, but they say they hit the most traffic once they entered I-75. They tell us there's a lot of traffic around the North Florida area. Those who are driving overnight say they've had better luck with little to no traffic. For those taking back roads, they say they didn't have an issue finding gas, but those traveling on the interstate, they say that they face some challenges.
Traffic was really bad. There was no gas probably for 280 miles to Florida, and then once we got into Florida, there was no gas at all. But we filled up just before we headed out of Georgia and had enough to make it all the way back to Sarasota.
Those who returned home already say it took an extra 3 to 6 hours to get back to the Suncoast. So if you have any family members that are returning back to the Suncoast, or if you're driving back yourself watching us on your mobile device, make sure to pack a little extra patience. Reporting live in Sarasota, Erica Jackson, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Erica, thank you so much. You're going to need a lot of that patience. And if you know someone who evacuated and is coming back to Florida this week, there are concerns about I-75 in Alachua County between Gainesville and Lake City. Right now, the road is safe and passable, but the Santa Fe River is rapidly rising. It has gone up 15 feet in just the past 36 hours. Should that river rise over the interstate, the road will have to be shut down, and that will cripple north-south travel. Again, it's still open and passable, but there is a concern it could be significant delays between tomorrow through Saturday. This would have a ripple effect, of course, on other alternate routes in that area, including I-95 to the east. We will keep you updated on the status of that road.
Custodians and staff in Manatee County schools are busy getting classrooms ready so that school can resume Monday. 24 of the district's 52 schools served as shelters during Irma, housing more than 25,000 people in total. Today, district leaders answered questions about the extent of Irma damage in the district and the cleanup process. They say they dodged the blunt of the storm and have only minimal structural issues. The challenge now is storing electricity to get what's left behind cleaned up.
Our number one problem is, again, all of our schools do not have power. We have 3 that have absolutely no power. We have 3 that are working off of generators, and so we have to constantly review those schools, ensure that food service can be delivered to have the food for our students on Monday, and number 2, ensure that we can get into those schools and clean those areas that need to be cleaned.
Those power outages also caused food to spoil at 11 of the district's schools. They will get new shipments Thursday and Friday, and then school returns back in session on Monday.
Well, the Wakeland Elementary School community in Bradenton is coming together to restore their school. An email blast was sent out to the community, and there was an overwhelming response. Nearly 100 people showed up at Wakeland to help clean up the campus.
Just finished work in the shelters over the weekend, and afterwards saw all the debris all over the school, and it was going to be more than what our custodial crew can handle.
Well, they're also working on getting generators for school families who are still without power. That cleanup will continue tomorrow.
Well, speaking of power, at one point, officials say 15 million people were in the dark in Florida alone. The latest numbers from FPNL say more than 79,000 are still without power in Sarasota County, and that's about 30% of the county, but still a big improvement from the 60% without power we saw at the height of the storm. Meanwhile, Manatee County reports more than 55,000 still without power. Charlotte County is down to about 40,000 outages. DeSoto County has a little more than 6,000. It's a lot of work because workers must first identify the power grid problems before they can make the repairs. And we have learned that the more technically advanced we get with all this electricity gridding, the harder it is to fix.
Apparently so. The sound that I'm waiting to hear is when the power comes back on and you hear people cheering. You know,
Not just air conditioners, but people cheering.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's get more on our weather right now with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob?
Oh, beautiful shot here. This should cheer you up. We had some sunshine today and a beautiful no rain day, and it looks as though we'll see a little bit better chance for some scattered storms as a result of some moisture coming back in from the south. But all in all, fairly quiet out there. Temperatures were pretty comfortable this morning, and highs today were not excessive. We have some rain well offshore right now pushing in our general direction. This I don't think is going to make it through this evening, so we won't see this. But in the morning, we certainly could see some scattered showers along the coast, and then again in the afternoon and evening as a result of a 2-day moisture return, and then it goes away just in time for the weekend, it looks like. The flood warnings are out. We've been reporting on that all last few days, and those flood warnings will continue, too, it looks like, through this weekend as a result of the rivers still up and slowly decreasing. So thankfully, we haven't had a lot of rain to add to the problem, and that's going to be the case, I think, over the upcoming week. And even next week, the rain chances are very low, so that's some good news on that front. The dry air that had been around is moving to the northeast. There's a little patch of it now just coming up from Cuba. You can see that pushing off toward the northeast at this point, but all in all, it looks as though we will see a few more scattered storms in the mix throughout the day tomorrow and again on Friday. 86 right now. Dew point is at 73. We have a west to southwest wind at 7. The pressure is at standard pressure, 29.92 inches. 93 in Sarasota. That's the heat index, and 94 in Orlando. 94 it feels like in Miami, too, and temperatures do feel like in the mid to upper 90s well inland, but near the beaches, not as bad. Temperatures feeling like a normal summer day in terms of temperature. Now, the tropical update. The area of concern that we were watching in the Atlantic, well, there's not much chance of that developing, although long-range models do keep it as a low pressure tracking off toward the west, or at least a little tropical wave. And this is Jose. We'll have more on Jose coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you. The Venice Fishing Pier is still closed due to structural damage from the storm. The city of Venice wants to warn people that the pier still needs to properly assess for any damage, and it is extremely dangerous to be on it at this time. So again, the Venice Pier remains closed. And remember, here on the Suncoast, we've been approved for a disaster declaration. That means residents can apply for federal disaster assistance. You can sign up now for help at disasterassistance.gov. There's also a link to that website with more information on how to apply at our website. Just go to mysuncoast.com. Well, it's the kind of star power you usually see at the Oscars.
Dozens of celebrities joining forces for the Hand in Hand telethon to raise money for the victims of Hurricanes Harvey and Irma. We'll tell you how much money was raised.
But first, we'll be back by an hour.
So you've decided to go to college. That's cool. So pop quiz. Which is a better way to earn your degree? Commute to college and fill your gas tank, get stuck in traffic, drive in bad weather, try to find a parking space, walk a half-mile to class, or learn online at Independence University. You don't go to college. College goes to you. That's independence. That's Independence University. And all your supplies, including a brand new laptop and tablet, are included with tuition. Independence U, for an independent you.
Call 1-800-671-4817.
Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC7 Digital Media Services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC7 Digital Media Services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
I am a veteran. My victory was finding the strength to be a champion.
My victory is having a job I can be proud of.
At DAV, we help veterans get the benefits they've earned.
My victory was finishing my education.
My victory was getting help to put our lives back together.
DAV provides veterans with a lifetime of support.
My victory is being there for my family.
Help us support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
We asked you, Suncoast, why do you like ABC7?
I like ABC7 because it's local. It gives me all the local news.
The local news, local weather.
It's so local and so community driven.
Haley Wilgus does a great job.
John Scalzi, that's my guy.
Bob Harrigan is wonderful. Stephanie's my favorite.
I like Scott Dennis.
I like them all.
We're all very grateful that you cover what you do and you're here to participate with the community.
ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
It's a lot of fun. You got to come out.
We come down from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Now your ABC7 First Alert Weather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Well, a beautiful day again. A nice sunny day out here at Lakewood Ranch. We had some fair weather cumulus clouds at times moving through, and then some cirrus clouds also later on in the day. There's just a little bit of moisture starting to come on back, and we'll see those showers and storms just a little bit, not a lot. We're not going to see a rain out, and it shouldn't cause too much more problems with the flooding on the rivers and streams along the Suncoast, but still just all it takes is a little bit sometimes with afternoon thunderstorms if it sits over the right place to produce 2-3 inches of rainfall, and that's not beneficial, but we'll see. This is out in the Gulf of Mexico right now, well offshore of the Suncoast. It's pushing to the northeast. It's not going to make it in terms of getting us this evening, but some showers down to the south near Fort Myers is an indicator that we will start to see some of this tomorrow. We could see a few isolated cells in the morning, a little bit better chance to see some scattered storms in the afternoon and evening as that west coast sea breeze starts to develop. Well, the system that once was Irma is no longer. You can see that rotation and spin right there, the counterclockwise swirl, upper level low now. That's all it is. What an amazing storm it was, though. We're going to take a look at that, the review and the track, the historical track of that storm coming up at 6 o'clock. Now, as far as we're concerned, we are not looking at anything significant in terms of tropical weather out there. We'll talk more about that as well. 86. The heat index is at 93. That's not bad, but if you're without air, it's really bad. Dew point is at 73 right now. Humidity at 65%. The barometer is at 29.92 inches, and we're waiting for the high today. Normally a high right around 90 degrees. We were a couple degrees below that for the most part. And our monthly rainfall well above average, and for the year we're plus 15. You know, we started the year the first couple of months, first few months, 15 inches below average, and now we're 15 inches above average due to the recent rain a couple of weeks ago and then what we saw over the weekend. Right now the wind forecast will be basically out of the south throughout the morning hours, and a few isolated showers pushing in. And then a little sea breeze will develop in the afternoon. We will see a scattered storm or two. Taking a look at temperatures right now, it's 89 in Orlando, 85 in Miami, 86 in Sarasota now, 88 in Jacksonville, and 83 in Pensacola. And around town, right near the water, with a little west coast sea breeze, with the water temperature cooling down to 83. It's in the mid-80s from Northport, Punta Gorda, Venice, Sarasota, up to Bradenton and Cortez. But inland areas isolated from that breeze into the low 90s right now. Lake Placid at 92, Arcadia at 90. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast for tomorrow. We'll see showers and storms isolated in the morning, and a little bit better chance to see some scattered storms late afternoon and evening. High temperatures will be just a couple degrees below average, but still not too bad, and no excessive heat out there at this point. Temperature forecast does call for a warm one in the interior portions of our viewing area and across the central portion of the state in the low 90s there, and then we'll start to cool down a little bit next week. Low 70s to start the days off, I think Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Well, there it goes. Jose staying away from the United States. Thankfully, it's been around a long time, too. Continuing to move off basically to the southeast, but top winds right around 75 miles an hour expected to turn into a tropical storm on through the next 48 hours. Well, the temperatures have been pretty warm across the southern plain states, into the upper 80s to Dallas now, 104 in Phoenix. Minot 78. Yesterday we're in the upper 90s, 86 in Minneapolis, 73 though comfortable in Chicago at this hour. In Boston now at 76, 79 in Cleveland. Here's a forecast for boaters. Tomorrow, winds out of the east, turning to the northwest at 10 knots. Seas running right around 2 feet with a light chop out there. The water temperature at 83. The UV index will be high at a 10. And the extended forecast looks like this. We'll see better chances for scattered storms just for 2 days only. And then the weekend looks to be pretty nice with partly cloudy skies and highs in the upper 80s. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Bob. Well, many drivers are not following the rules when it comes to traffic lights that are dark. Simply put, when the signal is dark, you must treat the intersection as a four-way stop. Sarasota police, they've responded to multiple accidents because drivers simply didn't bother to stop.
But I know they're kind of coming and going as power is slowly but surely getting restored. And so, you know, we just want to encourage drivers as you start to get back into that normal routine post-hurricane, you know, just make sure to be very mindful and very cautious while you're on the road. Make sure that you keep an eye out for traffic lights that aren't working, and don't be distracted. Don't be on your cell phone.
So hear what the laws say. If two drivers stop next to one another at the same time, it's the driver on the right with the right of way. And if you stop across from another at the intersection, the driver going straight has the right of way. The turn person has to yield. Well, the U.S. Virgin Islands are one of the hardest hit regions by Hurricane Irma.
Locals are now saying aid has been slow to arrive to areas decimated by that storm. Ariel Reshef has the latest.
Hurricane Irma unleashing fury in the Caribbean. The U.S. Virgin Islands dealt a catastrophic blow. The damage so devastating, residents of St. John painfully deciding whether to rebuild.
My house, my business, both my vehicles, everything is gone.
Days after the storm, locals describing chaos and crisis.
Our government did nothing. Nothing. People come out with machetes, offering bullets and saying there's more for you, breaking into houses, hurting people.
Some federal assistance now filtering in from FEMA in the form of food, water, tarps, and toddler kits. But across the islands of St. Croix, St. John, and St. Thomas, growing frustration.
Making a line for 2-3 hours to get some water because the city don't give water, they don't get nothing from the city.
More than 2,000 American tourists ferried out on cruise ships and flown on military planes.
When they see the U.S. flag, it's like, we're coming home.
While the U.S. citizens who live on the islands say they feel abandoned amid Irma's agonizing aftermath.
Our hearts are looking for something, even that government, to figure out over in the USVI to do something positive.
The Department of Defense has deployed more than 10,000 personnel to the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. President Trump is expected to visit the islands sometime in the coming days. Ariel Reshef, ABC News, New York.
A funeral held today for a Houston police officer who drowned in his squad car during Hurricane Harvey. Sergeant Steve Perez was a 34-year veteran of the force. Despite hazardous driving conditions from the storm, Perez left his home to report to an investigation. The police chief says Perez spent roughly 2.5 hours seeking a safe route to his duty station, ultimately calling to say he couldn't make it. Perez leaves behind a wife and 2 children.
The All-Star Hand in Hand benefit concert and telethon to help hurricane victims in both Texas and Florida raised more than $44 million last night. That's including $5 million from concert ticket sales alone. Celebrities from all parts of the entertainment world, including Leonardo DiCaprio, Oprah, Celine Dion, and Reese Witherspoon, came together. Musicians Usher and Blake Shelton performed. The money raised is going to multiple organizations, including the United Way and Save the Children. You can still donate by going to handinhand2017.com or also by texting GIVE to 80077.
Former Gators quarterback Tim Tebow doing his part to help with Hurricane Irma relief in North Florida. After visiting a special needs shelter with Governor Scott Monday night in Jacksonville, the two thanked volunteers and workers at State Emergency Operations Center in Tallahassee. Tebow also stopped by evacuation shelters and worked with the governor to rally people to volunteer.
So many people still have hope, and that's something that is so awesome about our state is, you know, all the shelters that I've been to, there have been a lot of people that have had a lot of worry, a lot of doubt, and a little afraid of the unknown. What's going to happen when I get back to my home? What's going to happen, you know, with my family? How am I going to connect? But the one thing that they had is they had someone that was beside them.
Governor Scott says people staying and working in hurricane evacuation shelters have appreciated Tebow's appearances and efforts. Tebow, who is now pursuing a professional baseball career, has a charity which helps children in need. The Tampa Bay Lightning and Florida Panthers, along with the NHL and the Players Association, are donating more than $2.5 million to Irma relief efforts. The Panthers have also been delivering ice and water to South Florida residents in need. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, whose first game was postponed by the storm, have separately pledged another $1 million, and the Bucs' first regular season home game will go on as scheduled Sunday at Raymond James Stadium against the Chicago Bears.
And a few Suncoast openings to tell you about this afternoon. The South Jetty in Venice is now open, and the Sarasota Farmers Market will take place as normal coming up this Saturday, September 16th. And I think people by the weekend may be ready from a little break from storm debris cleanup.
I think so.
Have a little fun.
Well, some Florida first responders may soon be starring in their own calendar.
It seems some pictures have women swooning. Coming up, we'll find some of these hunky heroes online and even in our area. Stay with us.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $10 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand, with no surprises, and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received J.D. Power Awards for highest customer service. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 800-457-2317. Go online or visit a Target store today.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
You might feel like there's too many problems in the world, or that, you as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old can't really make a difference.
It's not always about you. It's not just one person. It's a group. It's a team.
Just that simple act is transforming someone else's life.
It's one of the best feelings in the world.
It'll just make you feel so good about yourself.
I'd do anything to convince you just to be a part of this.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator. There was hardly anything in it.
That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs, stop the crimes.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Some Hurricane Irma emergency responders in Florida have prompted a response of their own from loads of Facebook admirers of the female persuasion.
Okay, this is kind of fun. So it started with a Facebook post featuring 3 Gainesville police officers departing for duty in Hurricane Irma. Well, the post created its own storm after scores of women began kind of inquiring, some of them a little graphically, about the officers' relationship statuses. Hey, they're good-looking guys in uniform. The department fueled the fervor by posting more hunky hurricane heroes. Even our own Sarasota PD chimed in, and they had some backup ammunition of their own. Gainesville officials are now planning a calendar of the department's finest, and of course proceeds will go to benefit hurricane recovery efforts.
Great idea. One Sarasota business owner is offering up something special for everyone in our community. Mike Young of Young Guns and Safety is offering a hot meal to anyone who stops by. He's cooked up the barbecue this morning, and he just wants to do his part since so many people are still without power and don't have the ability to cook a hot meal. So if you are hungry, stop by Young Guns on South Tamiami Trail with a capital T in Sarasota and enjoy a hot meal. The other issue has been so many restaurants haven't been open lately.
Yeah,
so
they can't get their food in, so we're glad that they are, and we appreciate their generosity. We'll be right back.